Before we get started on I'm trying to do the next part of the event, what I want to do is take a few minutes to kind of give you a feel for the background of Judy Ensweiler as well as Mike Fugler. What they're going to do is, once Judy's going to talk about how you're going to convert your dreams into reality, and then Michael is going to come here and help talk about what are the next steps. Now that you want to convert your dreams into reality, what are your next steps to how to get closer to the reality. So to give a background of Judy, Judy is the Executive Director of the Financial Service Exchange, FSX. She's also the President of Telugu Solution. Besides these two things, she's also an acclaimed speaker, both nationally as well as internationally. And she's going to talk about FSX. It is the reputable network which connects the executives and the owners of the companies with the broker dealers as well as financial firms. In the past few years, they have raised a total of $3 billion in financing. That's a great accomplishment. So that tells you what kind of speaker she is and what kind of knowledge she can bring to the table that we all can benefit, especially the entrepreneurs that are current entrepreneurs as well as the would-be entrepreneurs at large. And then Michael Fugler, he is the chairman of the Euro Financial Network. And you know what, I told Judy before we talked about is that Michael has got a lethal combination. What I mean by that is, in the finance industry, if you're an attorney as well as an investment banker, that's a strange combination to me, but it's also a lethal combination. So that's what we have. So he's going to share more about that. And also, I love wine. I don't know how many people love wine. He also has a wine importing company. Maybe we should talk more about that. He's going to come here and he's going to talk about his the business mastery system and the master plan and things of that nature to kind of convert your dreams into reality more in terms of a tactical plan. Okay, so that's what both of these individuals are going to cover. And with further ado, I welcome Judy Ensweiler to the stage to talk to us.
Thank you, Raja, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm probably too loud for this microphone. I have been working for about the last 15 years doing events around the country and internationally, talking with people and helping them understand a little bit more about themselves as well as other people. I want to thank Raja for that nice welcome. I have been introduced in a number of venues around the country, and people have introduced me in a number of different ways. One time a friend of mine was introducing me and he said, and I'd like to welcome a warm Judy Ensweiler. I thought, my goodness, that's really nice. And then I paused and thought, you know what, he's doing something to me. And so I went back and looked at my little Funkin' Waggle, and you know what warm is? Warm means not so hot. I did get even with him. Another time I was introduced as a model speaker. Now, I don't exactly have a model's body, but I thought, you know what, that's pretty cool. And then I went back and checked out what model meant. A small replica of the real thing. So I've been called a lot of different things. My background is in education, and I was doing my student teaching in first grade and third grade, and I decided that I wanted more out of life. I love children. I have a grown son and a couple of grandchildren. I do love children, but I wanted more than tying shoelaces and wiping noses. And so I got out of the children business, got out of teaching, and went to work for the largest county in Minnesota, Hennepin County. Are any of you familiar with Minnesota at all? Raja is. Okay, I'm sorry, because I think the weather up there is pretty crummy right at the moment.
That's the only thing I remember about Minnesota.
That's the only thing you remember about Minnesota. Okay, well, at least there's a memory, you know, that's a good thing. And so I worked for the largest county in Minnesota, and at a very early age, I ran their medical assistance program. I had 85 employees and a $65 million budget, and that, ladies and gentlemen, was BC. Anyone know what that means? Before computers. I had a male secretary, and when they brought computers into the welfare department, he said, stop, don't let them do this to me. And I said, well, we're changing. And he said, I can't. He said, I can't. Don't let them take my Smith Corona. Do any of you know what a Smith Corona is?
Typewriter.
Yeah, typewriter. It is not a beer, you put a lime in it. So that was all about change and change for Harvey, and I worked there for a number of years. I had a dream. Anyone here have a dream? I sound like Martin Luther King now. I had it. My dream was to become the first female governor in the state of Minnesota. I loved politics, and I still do enjoy politics, and that was my goal. I didn't write it down, and we're going to talk about that in a little while. And so it was just a dream. And I met a gentleman one evening that was a lobbyist. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to use this guy. I'm going to meet him, and I'm going to get to know all the people that he knows, because that's what's going to get me my way into governorship in Minnesota. We married instead. Somehow, I thought I was going to use him. I think he ended up using me. And I never got to become governor of Minnesota. And actually, right after we married, we moved from Minnesota to Chicago, Illinois. Politics in Chicago, Illinois, and my politics don't exactly go on the same wavelength. So we kind of got rid of that idea for a while. That dream went away. And while I was there, I raised our son, and we had a child, and I raised him, and I got involved in working at a university, and I was doing some training and some recruitment for the university. From there, we moved to Madison, Wisconsin. And in Madison, Wisconsin, I did start realizing that dream of political prowess. And I became a person that was elected to the city council. And it was pretty exciting. No one thought I could win, and so it was really exciting to win that. And I thought, okay, I am now one step closer to what a dream was. Still didn't write them down, still didn't have those goals written down. And so my second term, I was re-elected to city council, and by that time I'm thinking, wow, I'm pretty big stuff, you know, this is really exciting. And the third term, I was once again re-elected, and they were positioning me to run for the State House. And my husband said, you know what, Judy, we are going to move to Texas. I said, honey, we'll have a great life, and we will do lunch. I didn't want to move to Texas. I was achieving something, a goal that I had looked forward to. Still not written down, still not validated, still not timelined, but I was achieving success as I thought it to be. So after 6 months, ending a political career, our son was in college. I thought I would never see him again. I very, very grudgingly moved to Texas. You can probably still see the heel marks coming down 35 from Madison, Wisconsin to Dallas, Texas. I arrived in Texas, and I hated Texas. I don't know, have all of you lived here for a number of years, and your first thoughts about Texas? You love it or you hate it? Well, I was taken out of something that I wanted. I was taken out and put into a situation that I wasn't crazy about. So, and I'm sure that some of you have probably been there as well. So I thought, what am I going to do now? What do I want to do when I grow up? Getting involved in politics in Texas, not so easy. I like it, but I don't think Governor Perry would have been really excited about having me come down and suggest that I was going to take his position. So how could I transform myself? What did I want to do? And I sat home miserable for a while, thinking that, you know, I hated the sun coming up, I hated the sun going down. And my husband traveled all the time, and so I was really in a position of being a pretty negative individual. Has anybody been there? Does anyone know someone that's negative? Aren't they fun to be around? Not exactly. So it was one day that I thought, okay, what's my background? Education, teaching. What do I like to do? I like to get out and meet people. I love politics. So I decided to go and work for a company called Fred Pryor Seminars and Career Track Seminars. I was very fortunate enough to get an interview to work with them. Has anybody ever been to one of their seminars? They're all over the country. They're on many different topics. And so I started out working for Fred Pryor and Career Track. I would leave home on a Sunday night, and I would come home on a Friday night. I would get into a city, and I would train soft skills. Now, I know a lot of you are technically savvy, and I can now turn on my computer. So do I qualify for technically savvy?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, all right, good, thank you. And so I would leave home on a Sunday, come back on a Friday, and I would go to every different city and spend 8 hours dealing with people, understanding people, trying to help people make changes in their life. While I was at one of my seminars, I met a gentleman came up to me at lunch one day and he said, can you do a speech for an organization that I belong to? And it's called Financial Services Exchange. I said, sure, because you always say sure and then you figure out a way to do things. And so I said, tell me about it. And he said, well, it's a group of broker-dealers. I said, I don't know what a broker-dealer is. He said, don't worry about it, you won't need to. And so he said, just kind of give them some motivation, kind of talk to them. So I said, all right, I would do that. And I went and I did that, and I was invited back. And the third time I was invited back, I said, no, I'm not going to do this anymore because a good speaker never goes back 3 times. People don't want to see you, and you guys would all remember me because of my hair. And people don't want to hear your lines anymore. And I don't want to create new material. So he said, well, can your company, Terrific Solutions, run Financial Service Exchange? I said, sure. Everybody try that line. Sure. Come on, now say it like you mean it. Sure. That's what you have to learn how to do, is say sure, and then figure out a way to get it done. So I did, and I started running Financial Service Exchange while having created my company, Terrific Solutions. By this time, I'm traveling all over. I've been in London and the UK on 4 different occasions, spending weeks there and with my own company, and have kind of separated myself from Fred Fire and Career Track. So I started with Financial Service Exchange, and 2 years later, I bought the 90% of the company. So I now have a 90% share of Financial Service Exchange, plus my Terrific Solutions. That's when I realized what you needed to do to get ahead. You have to say, sure, and then you have to know what you want to do and how you're going to get there. So we're going to go on, and I'm just going to give you some pointers on things. Michael's the smart one, and so he's left the room, so he's the smart one. And so he's going to give you specific details on things. But I'm going to tell you, with Financial Service Exchange, our vision is to connect for success. How do we do that? We do it through networking, just exactly like you're doing today. We do it through the ability to meet one another, to spend 2 days together, and to determine if you want to do business with someone. We do it the old-fashioned way. We do it through creating relationships. It's something that, with the internet, with computers, with email, it's something that we don't get done very often. And so you sometimes don't feel real passionate about things. And if I asked each of you to write down what you thought an entrepreneur was, what's your definition of entrepreneurship? What are some of the things you might say?
Sleepless nights.
Sleepless nights, you bet. What else?
Simplifying complicated things.
Simplifying complicated things, I like that a lot. Because an entrepreneur has to have a problem, but they also then have to have the solution.
Passion.
Passion, absolutely, passion. We're going to discuss passion in just a few minutes, and I'm going to give you some ideas, 7 points in how to rekindle that passion if it ever goes away.
Risk taker.
I'm sorry? Risk taker. Absolutely, a risk taker is something, certainly an entrepreneur. You have to not be afraid of failing.
Persistent. Persistent.
Persistence, absolutely. You have to be persistent. You have to continue. You have to know that it's okay to fall down, pick yourself up, and start all over again. I recently asked a number of people, and some responses that I got were very similar to yours. Passion is definitely a key ingredient. A borderline psychotic who, through a combination of luck, perseverance, contacts, and maxing out his personal credit cards, turns his dreams into reality. So we have a number of different things that mean entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurs do what they like instead of trying to like what they do. How many of you work in real jobs but you really would like to be an entrepreneur? Okay, we're going to give you some tools to do that today. So, as we move forward, I want you to grab a pencil and a piece of paper if you can get one. Everybody have one?
As per code by